Okay, Boomers, welcome back to this month's episode of Baby Boomers Book Club. I'm Gladys.
I'm Dorothy.
Oh, sorry I'm late. My Uvu Java could not find my nursing home entrance. I'm Edna.
Today we're going to be talking about this month's book, Marigolds by Eugenia W. Collier.
Last month we struggled a little bit to keep our conversation going.
That was only you, Gladys.
Oh, hush, Edna.
Anyways, we're looking over last month's video and found writing with questions to ask each other underneath. Must have been from Dear Baby Jesus.
Okay, Boomers, let's talk about the story. To start, this story is about a woman who reflected on her life as a child. So looking at this story, what was your favorite quote?
I would say my favorite quote is, "The depression that gripped the nation was no new thing to us, for the black workers of rural Maryland had always been depressed."
Oh, Dorothy, I loved that one. It's history and literature combined.
Eugenia's use of personification when talking about the Great Depression shows how she felt it had power over the people living during its prime years.
Gladys, Edna, why don't we do a quick information session on the Great Depression for these whippersnappers?
The Great Depression was the worst economic downturn in U.S. history. This economic downturn, which was jump-started by the Wall Street crash in 1929 and ended in 1939, led to a decrease in consumer spending, which led to declines in industrial profits, and therefore led to a severe unemployment problem that the author reflects on in her story.
Heck, by 1933, nearly 15 million Americans were unemployed.
Oh, that's like when Elizabeth is talking about her dad and says he went to his daily unsuccessful quest for work.
Yes, exactly. Elizabeth's dad was just one victim of the great unemployment problem of the time. My gramps told me many stories of how he would get up early with his friends in search of any work he could find. The author's reflection on history can be seen here through her recalling the time when her father could not find work.
That was a great quote, Dorothy, but my favorite is when she said, "I remember only the dry September of the dirt roads and grassless yards from the shantytown where I lived." I loved how she used a reflection back to when she lived in the shantytowns.
For all you younglings out there, a shantytown can be defined as a group of shack-like homes containing people suffering severe poverty on the outskirts of cities or towns. Almost 6,000 shantytowns were created during the Great Depression.
I also love how she used imagery in this quote. It really helped me to visualize what a shantytown would have looked like.
All great quotes, but this was by far the best. Poverty was the cage in which we were all trapped.
That one really shows how the author reflected on her childhood by giving the readers a glimpse of what the society she lived in was like while she was growing up.
This quote was my favorite because it connected to how people during the Great Depression experienced up to a 40% decrease in their incomes, and only about 1/4 of people who applied for assistance received in putting Americans into worse poverty.
Well, I'll be darned. Her comparison of poverty to a cage is also a metaphor. This one really showed how powerful she felt the poverty she faced was by trapping her and her family in it.
Okay, Boomers, for today's Arts and Crafts show and tell, I made tissue paper marigolds.
If you want to learn how to make these on your own, you can go to the little box right under us to find how to.
I decided to make the marigolds for Arts and Crafts show and tell after I read the line, "Miss Lottie's marigolds were perhaps the strangest part of the picture," and because they were such an important symbol throughout the story.
I was thinking the same thing. I'd say they symbolize how people place things into their lives when times get tough to make life a little more bearable, especially during the Great Depression. I remember my grandfather telling me about how he built soapbox cars with his friends for fun.
And Lisbeth didn't really understand why Miss Lottie would do such a thing, because Lisbeth did not understand or realize how desperate their situation was living in their shantytown until she lost her own innocence.
I think that also fits with one of the motifs I found in the story, which was loss of innocence. This quote reflects on how the author lost her innocence when she was exposed to the brutality of the Great Depression, which was represented when the character lost her innocence after destroying the marigolds.
Okay, Boomers, that's all we have for today.
We hope you fellas and ladies enjoyed our discussion of Marigolds by Eugenia W. Collier.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you want to hear more riveting talks about all the best stories.
And maybe give us a like if you want to.
See you next time, Boomers!